He's absolutely awesome on defense and not impactful at all on offense. He just looks like he's playing without a whole lot of direction. This was a quote from an anonymous scout on the 8th of November this year regarding Victor Wembanyama, and it wasn't the only quote or piece of media talking about the struggles of Wemby to start the season. Well, since that quote, Wemby is averaging 29 points, 11 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 3 blocks per game on 54% from the field and 40% from 3. Oh, and he's taking 11 threes a game, by the way, and the Spurs have outscored their opponents by an average of 7 points a game with him on the floor in that time. Can I ask you guys if that is good offense? Or are these the numbers of someone who isn't impactful on offense at all and doesn't know what he's doing? If that's the case, then every player in the NBA not named Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Embiid, and Shea might as well pack it up and not even play offense, because those are the only guys who can put up numbers like that. And I know it's a small sample size, but so were the first 10 games of the season when everyone decided this 7'4" alien who can do everything on a basketball court had suddenly turned overrated. I'm here to tell you, he's not overrated. And you better quickly realize that, because not only is Victor Wembanyama dominating, but the San Antonio Spurs look like a legitimate playoff team as a result of just how good he is. And that's not too surprising when he can be the best player on the floor regardless of the opponent. Just look at his game against Sacramento a couple of weeks ago. With 3 All-Stars on the Kings side, I know they aren't a super team, but that's technically still true, it was Wemby who went off for 34, 14, and 11 to go along with 3 blocks, absolutely dominating the game, hitting turnaround jumpers like on this play, walking into pull-up threes or coming off dribble handoffs and knocking down threes, and then he just does things which no one else can do. Like here where he's up against Malik Monk. It looks like he's about to face up, but he drives inside and just look at the strides getting past Monk and then switching hands in midair. But even with a stat line like that, and with plays like that, the biggest play of the game from Victor Wembanyama wasn't a rebound, wasn't an assist, wasn't a block, and it wasn't a bucket. With 10 seconds remaining and the game separated by 3, Keldon Johnson missed this free throw, and look at Wemby fighting to tip the rebounds back to Johnson, who found CP3, and the game was over. Yes, you could argue it might have been a foul, but just the effort from your best player with 10 seconds left in the game is what makes him special, in addition to everything else. And everything else includes the 3-point shooting. Because this isn't just a couple of hot shooting games now. Over his last 10 games, Victor Wembanyama is second for 3-point makes. Second, just behind LaMelo Ball. And you have to go all the way down to 32nd to find the next 7-footer on that list in Kevin Durant, if we are going to be real and call him a 7-footer. But before we talk about that, let's thank the sponsor of today's video, MyBookie. The NBA season is properly underway, and we're already seeing some ridiculous performances, from LaMelo Ball putting up 50 and 10, hitting one-legged step-back threes like it's nothing, to Nikola Jokic doing, well, Nikola Jokic things. So what better way to enjoy all of the historic action than with MyBookie, who take live odds on literally every single action. All I know is if there's 30 seconds left in a game and the score is separated by 2 involving the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic, I would suspect Luka Doncic is going to a step-back 3 to win the game. And I think he would have a good shot at making that if it's a favorable matchup like Rudy Gobert. And you don't need to wait to make your own shot. I'll make it easy for you. Jump in right now and double your first deposit with code 6man. And you can use MyBookie Bet Builder to get creative with player props and single game parlays. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And I think this is why it's harder to analyze players on a game-to-game basis in the modern NBA. Because after everyone spent the first 2 weeks talking about how Wemby should stop shooting threes, and how terrible it is that a 7-footer is taking all of his shots from beyond the arc, he then decided to make the second most threes in the league over his next 10 games. But it's more than just the points he can gain from making threes, it's the points he gains from the defense being worried about him making threes. Like on this play where he pump fakes Koloko from 30 feet out, and once he's got that much room, it's always going to be an easy bucket. Now that's a bit of an extreme example, but even without a pump fake, just forcing defenders to get close to him from beyond the arc gives him the opportunity to use his handle and put the ball on the floor. Time will tell if Wemby can be a legitimate 40% three-point shooter on high volume like a Kevin Durant or a Lauri Markkanen, and only then will we know if he should be taking 10 threes a game, but just the fact he is showing he can do this over an extended stretch of games makes you believe the potential is there for him to be an elite shooter, and that's just going to open up the rest of his game. And the rest of his game is so much more than just scoring. I'm not talking about the defense just yet. Guys, he had a 34-point triple-double against the Kings and is averaging close to 5 assists per game in his last 10 matches. This could be the separating factor between Wemby and, let's say, guys like Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis, who are all-time great players, but I see Wemby as someone with a higher level of passing ability and instincts than those guys. Just look at him here, get the pass from CP3. He pump fakes the three ball before driving and dishing a no-look pass back to CP3 in the corner. That is not just Spurs basketball, that is beautiful basketball. Or here where he faces up against Jackson Davis, drives into the defense, forcing the Dubs to collapse before dropping it off to Barnes under the basket for an easy 2. And what we've noticed from Wemby this year is he's become more and more comfortable taking those double teams on, pause, and then using that to his advantage. Now, in saying all of this, it would be easy to continue talking about what he does on offense because he is special, but we can't let his offense distract us from what he's been doing on the other end of the floor. I know we saw it happen last year, so we've already become a little desensitized, but let's not ever be desensitized to what Vic is doing on the defensive end of the floor. Not only is he leading the NBA in blocks a game at 3.6 to go along with 1.3 steals, but just the sheer number of shots that he is altering, like here where he initially slides over on the pick and roll to force LeBron into passing before then turning and contesting Cam Reddish and then using his length to tip the ball away from both of the Lakers players and helping the Spurs get the board. And this is consistent. Players will turn away scoring opportunities when they see Wemby at the rim because no one is trying to contest him. And even if they do contest him, it's not just about him blocking their shot every single time. On a lot of these shots, a subtle detail that might get overlooked is how players have to change their rhythm when attacking Wemby. Even when you look at certain shots like this one from Quentin Grimes, it doesn't look like Wemby times the contest perfectly, but that's because Grimes was forced to throw up the layup a fraction earlier than he otherwise would have, making it an unbalanced shot attempt. Now, even with this being said, there's still room for him to grow on the defensive end of the floor. He's a little too eager on pump fakes sometimes. Sometimes he might overhelp and overcontest and try to go for the highlight play, which he's improved, but he will continue to improve. And this Spurs defense is just going to get better and better. And think about how scary this Spurs defense could be. Not only Vic, but Stephon Castle, Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell. There is a blueprint for this team, and it starts on the defensive end of the floor. And that has been clear since the day Wemby was drafted. The offense might be inconsistent despite being incredible for a second-year player, but the defense is already best in the NBA level, and the Spurs are building around Wemby with that in mind. Now, if you want to see me continue to talk about that and the Spurs, consider subscribing to the channel. That would be much appreciated. Dropping a like on the video would be cool. Most importantly, have a great day.